So typically we would make crosses where we think we would select the best parents. Each year we'd pick out some that we liked the fruit quality and cross those with those that we knew had some track record of survival in Minnesota or in that northern climate. That would end up with probably 10 to 12,000 seedlings of apples that were grown until they fruited, and then you walk the rows. When they fruit, and you taste each one of them, and most of them are too sour, or they're too small, or they're bland, they have little or no character. So you taste them and you toss them and go on to the next one, put a ribbon on that tree to be cut out and destroyed. And then when you come across one that seems to be different, Honeycrisp, for example, wasn't known as Honeycrisp at that time. It had just a number. In fact, it had no number, no identity when the first time we found it as a seedling in a seedling row. Bit into this apple, a snappy, crispy, juicy. Wow, what's this? And ate that apple. Usually you take one bite and you throw them away, but this case had to eat the whole apple, and then ate another one. So, this is really interesting. So that particular one then, we would mark with a certain type of a colored ribbon to make sure nobody would destroy it, and take records on it, describe it, put the records in notebooks, and use those for comparative purposes next year and the following year. So this would go on for several years to be sure that, first of all, that the tree survived when it was fruiting following a cold winter, and then it was propagated. And that means we would take buds or twigs, dormant twigs, and graft them to seedling rootstocks so we could multiply them. If you try to grow an apple from seed, every one is going to be different. It's unlike tomatoes or corn, but anything that's grown from seed in a garden or in the field, corn and soybeans particularly, those plants are identical as they come from seed, and you know what you're going to get. In fruit trees, they're the big long $40 word for it, or $64 term for it, is heterozygous, so that every one of those in the population is different. You go through this process then of generating thousands of seedlings, letting them grow up, and you select out the best ones. Okay, so when you think you've identified a good one, further testing is required. You have to multiply it to get a number of trees that then are tested in different growing locations, if you have them, or you cooperate with growers, with people who are growing them, and say, will you test this one for us? And again, that provides an opportunity for those trees to experience severe winters or different kinds of winters. Every year is different. It might survive one year very nicely, but another year you might have conditions that would be detrimental to their survival. So they undergo that process for a number of years, and that could take 10 years until you see, well, okay, this one has been thrifty for this number of years, the fruits continue to be good, there's nothing really troublesome in terms of susceptibility to diseases, they seem to survive the cold winters well. And then you take the next step and multiply again and expand it with testing to many more growers. Anybody you could get to cooperate that would want to test it. And that's really the acid test. The growers will tell you, yeah, this one is good. We can sell this. And we used to sell it in our market at our research station as well, and where many different kinds were provided to consumers. Consumers would soon identify, oh, I want that one. They'll come back the following year and say, save me a box of these, because they remember that they're very special. So at that point, then it's time to pick a name. And so usually we would have a group of folks get together that work in research or extension, or that were familiar with apples, growers, and ask for suggestions for names. And we'd mull over a number of them. And in this case, I wasn't there when this name was chosen. I'd already moved to another institution. But the name Honeycrisp was picked for that particular apple.